Should you pick up Lorcana's 2024 D23 promo cards? Let's talk about it. So with Disney getting set to launch its D23 2024 Expo convention, this is of course going to come with it a new set of Disney Lorcana promo cards. But the question is, should you be picking these promos up? We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but first, let's just do a quick breakdown of some of the subtle differences, but key differences between the D23 2023 promos and the 2024 promos. First and foremost being that the 2023 promos, of course, are exclusively first chapter promos because this was sort of the adjacent launch of the game, being as that the first chapter was going to get set to launch just after the actual convention happened in 2023, whereas the 2024 promos are going to be, to our knowledge, one promo from the first 6 sets of Lorcana, yes, including a set that we don't even know the name of yet, but Oswald will apparently be a card in that set, which is kind of a cool Easter egg that they threw in there. The second big area of focus that we need to talk about is from a commodities standpoint. The first run of promos, the 2023 promos, a much more exclusive run. Now, somebody in the comment section let me know if this number is correct, but to my knowledge, my understanding is that it was 1,000 sets of this run. And you could only get them at the Anaheim location. That's the part that I'm really not too sure of, but I'm sure someone in the comments will let me know. Whereas the 2024 set, you're going to be able to get it from multiple different locations. I'll pop the locations up somewhere here, but not just Anaheim, but also Florida, Times Square, the EU, Australia. You're going to be able to get your hands on 1, 2, or in some locations up to 5 of these sets at the maximum. So those are some of the biggest differences, but also understand from a price expectation standpoint, that's going to be where the biggest delta lies, right? From a simple commodities perspective, and also from it being exclusively first chapter cards with that very important extra premium of having that first edition stamp on it, especially since these are the only cards that have that stamp on it, expect the 2024 promos to sell for drastically less on the secondary market. However, whether it be 5x, 10x, something of that nature on the secondary, I do expect you to see an extremely high, sales tax upward because, that's the price that the market will set. I also expect them to be very liquid out of the gate just because, yourself, myself, others, of us, we might not live in these locations. We're not going to have the ability, or at least we won't end up going on site to actually grab these. And that means that you're sort of at the mercy of the secondary market, and we'll see how high that FOMO or how high that hype is on these cards. But the biggest reason I wanted to at least cover this video and make this video this week while this is so timely is because a question that I'm hearing a lot from subscribers and just other friends that I have in the community who are asking, like, are you going to go pick these up? How are you going to go about doing that? Adding them in sort of to your collection if and when you ever do. It did get me to thinking like how I want to be able to strategize about going and getting these cards. And if there's one thing that I do, sort of ask you to maybe think about in the next couple of weeks, again, not actual advice, but I know I'll be doing it myself, is, what's the best strategy to go about picking up these cards? And I think the real question that we have to ask ourselves is what is that price that you're willing to pay where you won't have any regret down the road? Right? And if you follow the channel for a while now, you'll know that we did a video a while back, the Lorcana question video. It was the second time we did that video. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out because this is exactly sort of a situation where you can use one of those specific topics to sort of, map out a decision. One of the questions that was asked was, how do you go about, adding in different sets, doing allocations, like how much sealed product do you buy? It was something like that. And the way that I answer that question is I always like to set specific minimums for myself and then kind of go from there. So as we know, on August 9th, when these promos do release, it is ironically also the release of the newest Lorcana set, Shimmering Skies. So we kind of have two different areas of focus that we have to go about, asking ourselves, how much Shimmering Skies do I want to add to my collection? Do I want to add these promos to my collection? How do we want to go about doing that? I can tell you from my standpoint, the way that I'll be looking at it is I'll want to make sure that I don't let these promos or this random happenstance affect what I'm doing with my consistency, what I'm doing with my typical routine, right? If you're someone out there who every single set likes to get 2 cases of a new set, you know, that's something that you want to make sure that obviously you're continuing to do, you know, if that's something that you believe in. But at the same time, look, you know yourself best. If you want to go out and get these promos and you know that that's what's going to make you happiest, right? I mean, go do it, right? Because you know yourself best. But what I always find for myself is the areas that I typically tend to have the most regret is when I go and kind of go off course of my typical routine. And it always happens, you know, in terms of me taking money away from my set allocations and putting them towards random purchases like an individual tournament card or an individual promo set. And the reason is long term, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? I mean, of course, you know, we expect these promos to appreciate. We expect these sets to appreciate. Obviously, if you think the game is going to work, then you know that's a natural phenomena that will probably happen. But a lot of times, what ends up happening with new modern sets is maybe I'm struggling being liquid with cash, you know, at the moment, and maybe I want to sell some of my product to actually, you know, go and then afford or go spend that cash on the newest modern set. Being able to make sure that you have your allocations set, it affords you options, right? So going back to that example of 2 different cases, it's not just 2 different cases that you have the option to sell. You could sell 1 case, you could sell 1 box, you could sell 3 boxes, 5 boxes, right? You end up having options of how you want to sort of break down that bulk allocation, as opposed to the promos that, of course, you're going to probably want to hold on to those for dear life, especially because you worked so hard to get them, right? So I know that from a promo standpoint, I'm going to be asking myself, you know, what's that number that I'm willing to spend on them? And if it doesn't hit that number, then it's one of those things where you kind of just have to maybe watch from the sideline, no different than a lot of us with the D23 2023 promos, where I'm sure a lot of us don't have our hands on those. And there's obviously also the option for long-term, maybe going individual card by card. Obviously having the sealed set, you know, adds that specific premium on it that makes it all the more special. And I'm sure all of us wish that we could maybe have 2 sets, one to open and one to keep sealed forever, so we can kind of have the best of both worlds, the individual cards and also the sealed set. But this is just where tough decisions come into play. But regardless, wanted to at least cover this video because I know I've been getting so many questions about it. Super excited to see these cards, super excited to see in promo enchanted foiling on cards. It's a home run for Lorcana. Obviously they're doing fantastic with this, and this also shows that they're keeping the collector in mind, which is fantastic. So obviously I'm going to do my best to get my hands on them. Hopefully we can open them up on the channel together. But until that time, it'll be interesting to see how these cards play out in the coming weeks. All right, y'all, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you enjoyed today's content, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for the overwhelming support that you've been giving us on the channel. We wouldn't be here without you. We are eternally grateful for you all, and we'll see y'all on the other side. Peace out.